Now, Clinton Rowe seems to be a man that every boy should be friends with. No matter the age of the boy, it's the price and the coolness of the toy. And Clinton Rowe has some pretty cool toys. The ones we're talking about today are specifically his video arcade games, for which Dominic George, he has 6,000 titles of classic arcade games.
This takes you back, doesn't it? This is great stuff.
Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. To take us back, let's have a look on the screen. Have a look at a little clip of a little bit of video of him and some of the games he's got on show. Let's have a look.
I think there are some values tied up with the old games. For one, we learned patience. You know, you had to wait for a game to load, and you know, that could take 5 or 10 minutes. So, you know, what did you do? You had conversations around, you know, with your friends, and so you know, you learn a lot of patience and persistence because the games were so difficult to play and unforgiving.
Well, the idea is to encourage artists to link up with property owners, just to bring a bit of life back to the CBD and provide some sort of interactive environment. People can come into town without having to go to a shop necessarily and just enjoy the CBD as it is.
I'd love them to drop in, have a play on some of these old original games and on the original machines.
Amazing.
This has the potential to be a massive attraction for out-of-town people as well, visitors. This is going to be huge, I reckon.
So it's a pop-up store in George Street. It's about 2 doors down from Whitcoulls from the look of the video footage. And it's basically almost an art installation that you can go along and check out and play some of those games. I remember some of those games. Do you remember your first interactions with video games?
Yeah, absolutely. Cobb & Co, the restaurant, and they used to have one of the ones where you sit down, you know, and the Space Invaders, you know, and you'd have your mate would be on the other
opposite
side.
What about at home? What about like something hooked up to the TV?
I sort of, it's probably, was it a Sega Master System?
Sega Mega Drive. Mega Drive was like the second version. That was the Flash one.
Right, okay, yeah, was that the Flash one? Yeah,
one.
Well, and then of course I remember my brother, it sort of bypassed me a little bit, but I remember my brothers getting the first PlayStation as well, and that was pretty cool. But that was old school, man.
I remember, and we didn't have one, but our friends had an Atari, which had the square joysticks with a handle and a thing there.
Yeah.
And I remember us having one as kids. We had a black and white TV, and it was horse racing, and it was probably 1 or 2 bit horse racing. I can't remember what it was called though. But my mate across the road also had a Commodore 64.
Oh yeah.
And that had a tape deck. You saw in that video footage, the tape deck where you push play. So you didn't put a CD, you literally put a tape, like an audio tape in, pushed play, and waited a certain amount of time for actually the game to load up onto the computer, and we used to play it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. But we wanted to let you know about this pretty cool installation, I guess it is, going on in George Street. I'm going to go check it out. I want to play some Super Mario Brothers because I remember that from probably the early to mid-90s, playing at my mate Marcus's place for hours and hours and hours. Go back and see if I can still play it. Maybe set a high score, maybe take on Dominic George and kick his butt at it.
Yeah, you can if you want. Clinton Rowe as well, the guy, and the name, the Retro Museum. Brilliant.